So next on our agenda was bringing our wiring harness in. Now you can see right there, it was laying on the floor. Now it's run up inside the frame rail. Now this is nothing special. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's dark, but that's just a little factory wire loom holder right there. I just brought it up, stuck it. Same right there. I use that factory wire loom holder right there. It's stuck in that one. We loop it underneath that cross member. Then threw me a trusty little zip tie on it. Right there. Right there we used the factory wire loom holder. Snapped it into that guy. Pull it out. Trusty zip tie once again. Loop it up here. Trusty zip tie. Then I got a zip tie here, here, and here for our speed sensor. I guess that's what that is, right there on the rear end. And I just zip tied it here again. Now I had a little ground wire right here. I came over and I just went ahead and I put it under this nut right here for the shock because the ground wire would attach to the frame. Well, guess what? The shock is bolted to the frame. So got good connection there. So came down, a couple more zippy ties, plugged in our sending unit for our tank right here. And then the rest of it, I just kind of stuffed it in the frame and looped it around right there at the back. For right now, because I ain't ready to mess with none of that just yet. So I did it that way. I just went ahead and knocked out the wiring because there really wasn't much to see. I just kind of stuck it up in there, so no frills, no thrills. Stuck it up in there so we could kind of get on to the next thing, which is trying to get us a little temporary exhaust stuck on this thing. I don't even remember how it went on. It's been so long ago since I took it off. So this ought to be fun. I did pull the brackets that were on that piece of tailpipe that was on it. I pulled them off and just kind of cleaned them up, scuffed them, put some paint on them. That way, hopefully this time when I put them on, maybe I don't have to take them back off. Probably, I'm sure I probably will. But they'll have paint on them, protect them a little bit. So let's get into this and see what we can figure out. Whew. All right, so a lot of y'all will recognize this chunk of pipe right here. It is just what was left over from what we originally used. So it slides over this piece right here, which I'm sure it won't slide over easily now because it's got tons of overspray and other crap all over it. Might have to cut this thing too, actually, now that I'm looking at it, because yeah, I'd say we're gonna have to cut it. So let's kind of, ooh, it did slide on there. All right, so that obviously ain't gonna work. Definitely gonna have to cut that off. So like I said, I'm looking for something temporary for right now because I'm gonna have to take it to an exhaust shop, I would assume. There's no way I'm gonna be able to run exhaust under this axle, because if I ran it under, it would probably hit the ground when I air it all the way out, so that ain't gonna work. So probably just gonna have to do some type of turn down right in here. So I can get some kind of bracket on it here. So right now it's kind of, yeah, it's slid all the way up on there. So I've got a turn down that came with this exhaust when I bought it. I saved all that exhaust pipe just because you never know when you're going to need it. Hell, I think I used some of it to make the cold air kit. But originally it was made to go over the rear end, which obviously we didn't do, but I saved those parts. So I've got like a 90-degree turn down left over. Now that will work good. The only downside to that is odds are good whatever exhaust comes out of that pipe is also going to blow up all over the rear end and everything else back here. I've seen people do that before, and that's kind of what happens. It might just be something I'm gonna have to deal with, and if so, I mean, so be it, and it is what it is. I can take a wash mitt and reach out there and wash it if I really need to. So for now, I'm gonna kind of stick this up here and get an idea for where it's at. I mean, I'm probably gonna have to turn that thing down right in here, in all honesty. So maybe so I need to figure how far this thing slides up on here with this turn down. So let me grab that. All right, so here's our turn down. So I could either have it turned, let me reach over this line now. I could either have it turned straight down to the ground, or I could kind of turn it where it would go out thusly. That would probably put crap all over. So turning it straight down is probably going to be the best way, I would say. So let me get my pin so I can figure out where we want to cut it. So if I've got an exhaust hanger right here, I would think the closer that I could get to that rear end, the less chance I have of the gases opening up and blowing all over everything on the back of the truck. So I think I'd like for that thing to stop right about here. I'd like for the turnout to be there. So let me get my pin. Let's do some figuring here. All right. So I moved you just a little bit so you can try to have a little bit better vision here. All right, so what I'm thinking right now is if we turn her down somewhere right in here, I could actually either come over to the frame and make a mount, or I could come right out the back of this cross member and probably make a mount. So let's see. So let's start short, or let's start long. We can always work our way back in. So let's start maybe right here, because I don't want it to get into banging on my link arms at all. So we'll start right here. And worst case scenario, I mean, if I have to pay an exhaust shop to redo it after the fact, well, that's just what I got to do. So I'm gonna get out my cold saw right quick, and cold saw, chop saw, whatever. I'm gonna whoop that dude out, and then we'll hack this off right quick. Oh. And we're back. Slide this guy right here. All right, so I'm happy with that. So now let's see if we can sliz out this guy. That's pretty not bad. That's pretty much turning her straight down. All right. So now, pretty happy with that. That should definitely clear everything. Run nice and parallel. So I'm pretty happy with all that. One straight down. All right, so I'm gonna clamp this, put a clamp here, then we can start figuring out our hangers. So let me grab some clamps. Okay, so I have developed a plan. So basically, I'm going to come in, I'm going to put a clamp on it right here, which will hold these two together. I'm going to come down here, we're going to put a clamp on this, so it'll all be basically one pipe. Then I want to put a hanger right here that will come up and put a frame mount that goes just inside the frame right here. And I've got one of the factory ones. I got this guy. I got the hanger and everything. And so I went ahead and I kind of worked out how I want him to sit here and here. So I'm going to drill some holes, and so we're going to put those two clamps on. We're going to drill some holes to put this mount on. Then we're going to attach, I'm going to stick the mount to the pipe because it's this guy. This big long arm right here. We'll put it into the bottom of the pipe and we'll see how high up this comes. Now, right now, I do believe this is probably too long. So what I'm just going to do is once I get this mounted, I'll stick this up here and we'll see where it hits, if it's too short, too long, or what. And if it's too long, we'll make a little cut and we'll burn that dude together right quick, and then we should be good to go to stick it all together. So let's get started. Alrighty, so now you kind of see what we're working with. So I'm gonna put this guy right here, kind of eyeball. It looks like 3/4 of an inch. So if I take, so we're gonna go over here, we're gonna cut this dude. We're gonna take 3/4 of an inch out of it. I'm gonna weld it back together right quick, and then dust a little paint on it, and then we'll come back. Should be able to stick this together. Clean this crap off too. Alrighty, coming in hot. Alrighty, so this guy under here. Now, if I've got this right, actually the easier way to do this is probably gonna be like this. Alright, so there's that. Not too shabby. Hey, I'm okay with that. That's good and solid. And with that, I think that exhaust will probably be okay. So I'm pretty happy about that. So I reckon next up, well, I guess you know what? I mean, it don't matter. I could have, probably should have moved this over just a little bit so it hung a little bit more straight down, but it'll be all right. Okay, so next up, we get to start something. Now, you'll notice that the drive shaft is gone. I did go ahead and pop the drive shaft off, and I took the yoke off the front of it, and I took it and I dropped it off at a local place so I could get 1 inch taken out of it. It needed to be shortened a little bit. Now that we've lowered it, it wasn't even bolted in no way. So it really consisted of me just prying it off and taking it over to them. So I'm supposed to have that back in a week. So we'll say, give or take. So whenever that dude comes back in, we'll grease her up. I got some new U-joints to go in it. I'll throw the U-joints in it, and then we'll stick that back on, put some paint on it, stick that back on. Nothing exciting there. I mean, if you've ever changed oil or taken a wheel and tire off, you could take a drive shaft out. It's 4 bolts. But we'll get that back in about a week. So now about to move on to something I'm really excited about, and I've been waiting for a very, very, very long time. Finally doing all the final plumbing for all the airbags and everything, and then we're getting real close, because once we do all that final plumbing, then it's going to start getting real really quick. So let me move on and show you something that has been sitting on this floor that you have probably seen. What do we got? I don't know how many episodes at this point, but you've probably seen it. However many episodes it is, it probably made an appearance in every single episode, and you didn't even know that it was something for this truck. So let's go over to the workbench. Ta-da! Now, some of you that are OGs are going to remember seeing this thing sitting in the floor in various spots in this shop over the last, Lord, I don't know, 3 years or so. It was not just something left over from another job or something. I actually bought this specifically for this truck. So what we have here is, well, once upon a time, it was a 25-gallon air compressor. The motor went out on it, and it was, I guess, just sitting in some guy's garage or shop or whatever, and he didn't want it anymore. And so I got to looking around, and here's the thing. Running 6 bags on this truck, it's a lot of capacity that you have to fill all 6 of these bags, especially when you're running fast bags, because this thing will dump air at an alarming rate. Now, yes, you can buy lots of aluminum tanks and big steel tanks and things like that, but first of all, none of them are 25-gallon, and I think the biggest I've really seen is like maybe an 8-gallon, 10-gallon, and they're like $200, $300, you know, something like that. Well, let me just go and tell you, this bad boy right here cost me $15 on Amazon or on Facebook Marketplace. So, what is the plan? We are going to use just the tank, which means we're going to take this off, we're going to take this off, we're going to cut this bracket off, we're going to cut these stupid brackets off, we're going to take these wheels off, we're going to cut the brackets off where the wheels are on, we're going to cut this bracket off right here where it used to have a foot on it. We're going to get this thing smooth all the way down to where it's just a bare tank. Then I've got steel bungs that we're going to weld into it for all of our valves and everything to go into it when we get them all located. And we're going to make some brackets. We're going to sit this thing up next to the frame. We're going to make some brackets to bolt it onto the frame. That way she'll all bolt in place and look like a big ass bomb hanging off the side of it. But with 25 gallons of capacity, we'll have more than enough capacity to run all 6 of these bags. Plus, we'll also have a port coming off of it with an open air fitting on it, because once we put our flatbed on it, I want to be able to carry air tools and things like that. That way, in the event that I ever get to go forward with them again in my side-by-side, I know I'll tear something up, because I always do. And at least then, I'll be able to use air tools and whatnot to fix it on the spot, or if I need to work on something for whatever reason, if I'm out at my property and I tear something up, which I also do a lot, I'll have full air power to be able to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. And with this kind of capacity, I should be just fine. And if you remember, we got a big high CFM compressor under the hood that should fill this thing up and be able to keep us with ready air all the time. So with all that being said, I'm going to time lapse the teardown of this joker because it's going to take a little bit. We've got a lot of cutting to do. But I'm excited because I'm tired. First of all, this sumbitch is red and I'm sick of looking at it. This big old red thing in my floor, because y'all know I hate red. And second of all, I'm tired of moving it. I'm tired of stepping over it. I'm tired of walking around it. I'm tired of my trash can sitting right over there because I want it to sit right over there where this thing's been sitting. I'm excited. That is one of the best things about once you start going back together with a project is, especially a project like this, you get all the crap out of the floor that's been sitting around everywhere for like ever, it seems, like that exhaust pipe that we just put on. So let's get to cutting.